Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
Today is an exciting day because today, not only are we going to have one of our Over 40 Alpha brothers, tell us a story. I think it's very important that we all share stories at some point of our journey. This guy, I like literally has really become a good friend of mine. I can honestly call this person a friend. I don't know if he knows this, but literally I call him a friend. Like I would hang out, time permitting. It's summer. I'm sure at some point we're going to hang out with Summer, at some point, because, when he first connected with me, it was during the challenge, our Alpha Shred Challenge. So I think it was pretty new in the program. And at that time, I said to people, if you're here for 1 to 2 months, then you don't want to do the challenge, because I didn't want anyone, because it was the first time we did a challenge. It was 5 workouts. They were a little bit more intense. I didn't want someone who's new to get injured or to think like, oh, this is what this is going to be. Forget it. But nope, he sent me emails. He sent me a few emails saying, no, man, I can do this. I can do this. It wasn't a text yet, but it was just the emails. He kept sending me messages. I'm like, all right, man, you can do it. But, and then right from day one, it was posts. It was in the Facebook group. It was, letting a couple of messages letting me know, how things are going. And that connection just continued throughout. And, this guy, his alphaness as he transformed his body, because he's going to explain to us where he was before, but, going through the program and really embracing it, embracing the suck, embracing the workouts, embracing the nutrition, always asking questions at the beginning. A lot of questions were asked. And then, when it came time for me, I need help with something. I'm not going to release what it is, because then we'll just give up who the person is. But anyway, but I think you guys already know who it is. Anyways, he came and he helped me. Like literally helped me. It's like, because I ask for help. I'm not one of those people who, try to do things on my own. If I don't know how to do something, I'm going to ask you. I'm going, hey man, I don't know how to do this, and you know how to do this. So can you help me? Sure enough, helped. It was amazing. And then came to the boot camp, which was incredible. And then helped us again with something else, which is incredible. And really and truly throughout this entire time that he's been here, man, he's just shown a lot of leadership, a lot of support. And, I'm happy to announce that we have a new captain, and I'm happy to announce that Rob Raimondo is our new captain of the Over 40 Alpha Brotherhood. The reason A is for Rob is, he's extremely active. He helps people. It's something that he, embraced. And we have a lot of newer guys coming in, right? Because we have captains who kind of do different things. That's how we're kind of gearing that, captains do different things in the brotherhood, because if everyone's doing the same thing, then that doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of newer guys coming in who are brand new, or who are, new to the whole over 40 stuff. And Rob, that's kind of like, his goal is to help these guys and guide them, and when they're posting, here's nothing. When guys post in the brotherhood, the worst thing is when you post something and then no one comments or says anything. Like, even though people see it, like when no one comments, it's like, oh man. Like, so even those things, like those little things like that, help people to realize that, hey, you know what? Okay, this is good. Like, I'm getting feedback, even if it's just when I go in, sometimes I'll just say something, one word, but it's those comments and those things that help people. But I'm really excited to present our new captain, Rob Raimondo. What's going on, Rob? And Rob is going to tell us his story. He's going to go through his story and his journey. So let me spotlight you there, and I'm going to spotlight. So first and foremost, Rob, thank you very much, and congratulations, buddy. How you feel? What's going on?
I feel shocked, honored.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that intro, and thank you so much for the honor.
Yeah.
That's incredible, I have to say.
I mean, we talked about this before, and kind of like you're stepping up to the plate, and I appreciate it because we all have other things to do in our lives. But when guys like Bruce and Leandrew, a lot of you guys, not just those guys, just not everyone wants to be a captain, like wants to take the responsibility of, making sure that they're in all the time and stuff. And the fact that you are stepping up is huge. Oh, the other thing I didn't say, and just before we start with your story, is the other reason why I really like the attraction to the type of person you are is the fact that your brother joined, and your brother joined because of what he saw you doing, because I'm sure you may have asked him to join or whatever, or maybe he asked you. I'm not sure how that happened, but like, your younger brother sees you and it's like, I don't know what this guy's doing, but I want in, that, and that's a leader. Like that's the patriarch of the family that I'm talking about. Like that's what happens when you lead by example and you do those things. Not everyone's going to come the first time, but it will happen at some point if they keep seeing you at it. And your brother's results are, I mean, you two are going to be going head to head. You two remind me very much of Marco and Arturo Gutierrez from Hawaii. Those two, they're still in here, but Marco Gutierrez from Hawaii, he was the first to come in. I think he's in his late 50s or early 50s, perhaps. Like his transformation, incredible. Then his brother came in, and Marco. So it was Arturo came in first. Marco came in second. Marco's a little bit older, I believe, and his transformation. I just saw a picture of him the other day. It's like, what the hell? And it's the same thing. Arturo would tell him, but then Marco just said, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm coming in. That's it. And so that kind of thing, I love that type of thing, because a family unit just becomes a little bit stronger. You know what I mean? Like that's a stronger unit. Anyways, I got to stop talking and allow you to talk. So first and foremost, man, thank you for being on here. I really appreciate it. And how did your brother, what was that transformation to get your brother in?
Well, with my brother, what had happened was, so we were going through the whole COVID lockdown scenario. And I had already kind of got into the program. I had joined the program. I think I was in maybe my first or second month in around there. And then I can't remember if it was one of my kids' birthdays or something happened. And then they had to come over and we were doing one of those, drive-by outside the driveway visits. Right. And that was the first time that I had seen my brother in however many months. And I come out of the house and he's just like, dude, where's the rest of you? Right. And then, he's just kind of like, what's going on? What are you doing? And all of this stuff. And, I told him, I said, yeah, I've been following this guy online. And the funny thing is, I told him about you when I started watching you. And he was kind of like, oh, yeah. But I don't think it kind of like snapped. Right. Until then he saw me. And then he was like, okay. He's like, no. I'm joining.
Really? It was like, I thought it was like 6 months in that you were in already.
It might have been. I can't remember. Okay. I remember that I joined and then it might have been, a few months later, whenever I had some function that was going on. It could have been around 6 months. Wow. But it's when he saw me and saw that, like, what had happened, like how, I lost a bunch of weight in the first 3-4 months.
Yeah.
That then he was just like, okay, no, I'm joining.
So funny. You didn't have to say anything. You just walked out.
He was just like, okay, I'm done.
All right. So let's start back with just where you're from, how old you are now, but where you grew up, and what was that life like growing up as Rob Raimondo in that household?
Yeah. So born and raised in Toronto. Grew up in downtown Toronto. Lived, I know there's a lot of people here that won't know, but you'll know. I lived down like in College and Spadina area, which is like, yeah, right down in the city. Yeah. And then, I had my parents are Italian background. We had pretty much just normal life. I was very active in, sports and stuff like that, just growing up. Kind of just went through, high school and everything like that, played a lot of hockey and baseball and track and stuff like that. So, I think I started working out at the age of like 15.
Right.
I was a big wrestling fan, so I loved, the whole wrestling physique. And back in the 80s, everybody wanted to be like Hulk Hogan type jacked, right? Not like lean and ripped. So, a lot of that kind of stuff. And so I have to say that, like, growing up, it was, I was very active, and I carried that throughout most of my life, right? It wasn't up until I kind of started to get closer to, like, late 20s, early 30s, that's when things started to shift and weight started to come on. Focus started to change, started focusing more on career, had a very demanding job, got married and started focusing more on kids and buying a house and all of this stuff. And everything that, because I never was really fat as a kid, right? The weight gain didn't start until after my first kid was born.
How many kids do you have?
I have two. I have two girls. So my oldest is 19. So I'm 48 right now. I'll be 48 actually in June 15th.
Oh, geez. Okay. So 96 burpees coming up. Times two.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, the whole pre-weight gain era, right?
Yeah. So let me go back to like when you were that transition, because I think it's important. There's times where in our lives where, you were working out and you were doing all this stuff and you were active, but then when you got married, how old were you? Do you remember how old you were when you got married?
Married, I was 26, because I remember I got my plumbing license and got married at the same time. So it was like a double celebration.
Yeah.
I think my first kid was born in I think it was like 28, 29, 29. Yeah.
And then you have a second one.
Second one, 2 years later.
Okay.
So
kids. So you had kids, you just started a career. And
this was when my career was really starting to take off, because I was apprenticing in plumbing. And then, once I got to 26, I had gotten my plumbing license at that point. So I was certified. And, I had a very demanding job, because I was working in a field where, you were doing on call, and you were, working tons of hours. It would be day, night, day shift, night shift, weekends, just constantly. And so it's kind of hard to have a routine, right? It was kind of hard to focus on, okay, I got to go to the gym now, or stuff like that. And so, and not to make excuses, because I think today I've learned that it doesn't matter how demanding your life is, you can always find a way and find time. Yeah. But I think at that time in my life, it was just, focusing on everything but myself, right? And, and then the bad eating started, and the unhealthy living started. And, when you're in your early 20 or late 20s kind of thing, you're not really seeing the weight gain happen right away, because your metabolism and stuff, you're still pretty young. But, as it started to go through, 30, 35, that's when I started to notice, holy shit, it's just it's starting to come on. I was starting to balloon out.
Right.
And I can't remember how old I was, probably late 30s, maybe early 40s, by the time I got to this point where I was just it wasn't even a question anymore. Yeah, you were a fat guy now.
Right. Wow. And was it almost like a I know, I remember for me, someone said something to me at the gym, and I still got defensive about it, because it's there's no way I'm I've been working this hard and still look the same, big puffy guy. And then I looked in the mirror and I saw it, and it broke me down.
Well, you go in denial, right? It's a denial thing. It's no, I can lose this, or no, that's just a little bit of, but you know what? The reality is, people will tell you what they see. Some people tell you the truth, and it's the hard truth, right? Like my wife's aunt, we were at a beach one time, and I would at this point I was very self-conscious about myself at this point. So taking off my shirt to go to the beach was not something I wanted to do, but you know what? You do it. And then my wife's aunt, she was Italian lady, and she goes, "Look at you pregnant?"
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, Oh, right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's
Sometimes,
like,
sometimes if it's your buddies, like most of your at that point in time in your life, most of your buddies are pretty out of shape too. So you're hacking each other, and it's just like whatever. But that reality there, when someone like you know what I mean, like your aunt who no filter. I'm sure on my parents, on there's no filter, man. They're gonna tell you how it is,
yeah.
right?
And you hit the nail on the head, because this is so true, because you're right. I started to notice that people around me were also gaining weight.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to come to this like, okay, you're a father now. Maybe you start thinking your best years are behind you now. And you start to accept that, and people start to accept it around you. It's like, oh, I'm fat. Yeah, look at me. I'm the same. Like, so now it just becomes I don't know, it's an accepted culture, right? And the hard truth of the fact is that there might be people around me that accepted it. I was living in this just this hard place of not accepting it. I could not accept what I was seeing, but yet I couldn't find a way to change that.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
no, I'm telling you, most people are like that. They don't accept it. They may tell you that they do, and they do this whole thing,
Yeah.
but deep down inside, it's hurting them, because not only is it hurting their health, and probably most people won't go to the doctor because of that, right? They know they're unhealthy, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to go to the doctor and the doctor telling me that, because I'm already feeling crappy because I'm way out of shape, or I'm fat, or I've got a ton, like I'm obese, even really overweight. The last thing I want to do is go to a doctor and the doctor telling me that, like, and then really putting me into a spiral. So guys specifically, get afraid to do that. But yeah, I mean, the fact that you understood that, of course, you just wouldn't accept it. So now you're in the part where you're in the part where now you realize, okay, I gotta do something about it. And then what do you start doing?
So this is where now I'm like, okay, this is when the dieting starts, right?
So
So
what
now
diets did
it's
you do?
like,
What diet did you do?
oh, all of them,
Like what? Give us some. Give us.
all of them. Keto,
Yeah.
OMAD, 1 meal a day, which that one, by the way, was like, maybe that was the one that helped me with the whole fasting aspect, because I learned how to fast by doing that.
Right.
But I have to tell you, that one is probably the worst diet on the planet, because this is the one that causes the weight gain rather than the weight loss. And when I started doing OMAD, I think that's when I started to like really get fat.
Because 1 meal a day, by the way, that's what that means. Oh man.
Yeah, 1 meal a day. That was the only time that I would eat 1 meal a day, right? And then so anyways, I did OMAD, I did keto, I did high protein diets, low carb diets, apple cider vinegar and water bullshit, just anything and everything that was possible. And I'm sure there's a ton of brothers here that have all faced it. And nothing worked. Nothing worked, right? So now you start to get into this spiral effect of, okay, dieting doesn't seem to work, then you're fat and you go to the gym and you feel horrible, right? And you go and you run on a treadmill and everything's bouncing and flopping and you feel terrible. Going to the gym, you feel even worse leaving the gym. You're looking at all these people that are fit around you and you feel out of place, right?
Right.
So I started staying away from gyms and trying to do things a little bit more like sports driven. So I started getting into, started to pick up some more soccer and stuff like that. And I thought, hey, you know what? If I run my ass off and I burn all these calories, then eventually I should start to lose some weight, which wasn't horrible. It helped. I started to, slim down a little bit, but there was nothing driving the weight loss, right? Everything just seemed to be kind of plateaued and stuck there. And the big thing that I had realized, well, I didn't realize it then, I realized it now, is that everything was hinging around the bad nutrition and not realizing all of the things that I was eating that I thought were healthy that I shouldn't be eating, right? So
wow, this is good stuff. This is good. That's good stuff, because I can even relate to that. I related to that because when I was told that, about my not, thinking that I was in the gym doing the right thing, I did every diet on the planet. Like I did, Atkins diet. I did it all, man. It's just like none of it. And I was in the health, like I was posting on YouTube. I was like YouTube guy, health guy, and I was doing all that stuff in the back end. Okay,
Yeah.
so now so the sport stops. Now what do you do? I think you started doing other programs, I think, right?
No, so yeah, so what happened is okay, so I get to a point where so I went to a store to buy a suit and I could not. So here's the sad truth of this is that I had to go to a wedding. So we go to a store, and the store that I would typically shop at, and I had several suits that then I go into this store and I can't find one that fits.
Right.
And I remember the guy saying to me, you know what? I don't think we can help you here.
Oh.
He goes, if you go across the street, there's a store called Big and Tall.
Yep.
And I remember hearing that, and I was just like, Big and Tall? Like I took that as an insult, right? I think that was the eye-opening moment, because that's when I was just like, okay, I have to really dig deep and see what's going on here. Like I've got triple XL shirts hanging in my closet, right? I can't buy a suit at a regular store anymore, right? So going to the store to buy clothing was not good. It was never a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I said, that's it. I need to do something. So I started going on you. Well, again, now this is we're just on the cusp of the pandemic, and I was like, I'm not just gonna like sit here and rot. I got to do something. So I started going on YouTube, and I started looking at. So I didn't really join any programs, but I started following some guys on YouTube.
Right.
That were getting me into this, home fitness workout routine thing that I was finding. I was able to do this stuff, and it was actually making me feel good.
Right.
Completely different than just doing the bro sets at the gym and stuff like that. So that's where it kind of started, and then it transitioned into you.
Yeah, no, I think that's good that you did that and saw that, because it's all about starting to feel good. You know what I mean? And being able to see those workouts on there, sort of, okay, maybe I should try this, and then you're doing, metabolic or HIIT or whatever it was. Now you're starting to feel, okay, I can do this. So now that kind of gives you a little bit more confidence. I'm like, okay, this probably is better than the other stuff. So what happens after? How did you get to me again?
Well, so what happened was, so basically what happened was, you go on YouTube, and then, you kind of start hitting these little trigger words like, how to lose belly fat and this or that and whatever. And then, I saw this video pop up, and I see this Funk Roberts guy. And I said, okay, who's this dude, right? The thing that I noticed was that there were a lot of videos out there, and I'm sure a lot of guys can share the same experience, is that some of these videos, they either focus only on nutrition and not so much on the workout, right? It's like a 5-minute quick, okay, this is how you do a few, it's not really a workout, right? Others, it's, maybe more about the workout, but then they don't tell you enough about the behind the scenes stuff, right? And then, so, you can, and even the quality of the videos, sometimes they're horrible, they're grainy, so they don't invite you in, they don't draw you in.
Right.
I clicked on one of your videos. I think it was probably a 2019 or a 2020 video. It was something recent at the time. You had mentioned something about, now that we can't go to the gym. So it was one of these videos. And I was like, okay. And I started doing the video. And I just remember the feeling of just like, even after I watched it, I was just like, holy shit, like that. I felt like I was in the room with that guy. Right. And it lured me into the feeling that I had after the workout. The workout seemed intense. It was extremely intense. When I did it, I was gasping. Right? But at the same time, I knew, like, okay, like now I feel like I've worked out. Like this is a good feeling, right? I'm sweating. I feel like I've done something. Right after that, it was like, okay, every day I would come down, find another video, and it was just like, right? And so I'm doing these videos, and that's when I kind of just like, I said, and then, I keep hearing you about this over 40 alpha program and this and that. And I wasn't really sure at the time that I trusted it enough. Right. Because I was like, I don't want to fall into another gimmick, right? And I don't want somebody to just take my money and this goes nowhere. So I was kind of shadowing behind the scenes and still doing the workouts. And to be honest, I started to notice some weight loss starting.
Right.
And that's when I was like, okay, right. And I was picking up on how you talked about your nutrition and this and that. And I started watching some of your podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, I hate to say this,
Yeah.
but I was kind of like, I was behind the scenes brother, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, this is most of the guys. Don't I know this because even when I talked to Ben Gervais, said the same thing. It's kind of like, and then I had that trial. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. And if it's good, I'm staying. If it's not, I'm gone, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Because I gotta earn your trust, man.
Yeah, no, but
I gotta earn it.
You do it smart because once you start to see that it's working, now these little trial videos and shit, it's not enough. So you gotta come back, right? So that's when I was like, okay, I gotta join this. So yeah, that's what I did. So then I got onto the 30-day. That was.
Oh, you did the 30-day challenge?
Sorry?
First? Did you do the 30-day challenge? Okay, you did the 30-day challenge first.
I did the 30-day challenge. But in truth, that wasn't my introduction to the program because I was doing it behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
And so I did the 30-day trial and that was it. I joined.
So let's talk about, that's awesome. That's a great story. I love it. And I know a lot of guys can talk and say, yep, same thing, man. Kind of just looking around, trying, okay, who's this guy? Let me just check a couple of the guys out. Let me go back to this guy, which is great. I mean, that's, for me personally, when my old fitness business was, I created a different way. I created more like, buy this. I'll tell you guys right up front. Buy this program, and you're gonna get 14 days free here, and then you're gonna have to start paying $47. But you didn't come in to pay $47 a month. You came in to pay for this program. So yeah, at first I was making a ton of money because people would forget about this $47 thing coming out of their payment every month. For me, I hated that. Because then people come in like, hey man, I bought your $3 program. How come you're charging me $200? And so that started to just continuously happen to me. And at first I didn't even like doing it that way, but that at that point it was more like, because that's more front end, right? That's more like, look at this, and then I'm gonna get you over here. You should have looked at the $14 trial thing. It said that, but you're not buying the 14-day trial. You're buying the freaking program that you're buying. So that started to happen to me, and then all of the negative feedback and refunds and all that stuff, and so that totally crashed. It went up high, but it crashed. Then I changed my mindset, and I said, listen, I only want to work with people who want to work with me. So yes, it's a $1 trial, but you're buying the $1 trial. You're not buying something else. And I realized that I only want to work with people who want to work with me, and I have to gain their trust. So it's going to be a longer process. And so that's why I do what I like, just put it out there in hopes that maybe right away, some people right away, other people take months. Other people take years. I've been following you for years, man. Finally, I joined, and that's sorry. I just wanted to kind of.
Well, and the thing is, Funk, that truthfully speaking, there is a lot of programs out there that you can follow. And there's a lot of great fitness gurus out there.
Yeah.
But they don't put the entire package together that I find that we see here. Mm-hmm. Right. It's an entire complete package of nutrition, rest and recovery, your workouts, the coaching calls, like all of the stuff, the brotherhood, all of the stuff that we have is what makes this special, and it's why it works. Right. So if you start to leave out some of these things, you might get some results here and there, but how committed are you, and will you last before you get bored, before you start not seeing the results, before you want to move on to something else? Right. Yeah. So I find that your program, not only is it very inviting, but it keeps you there, keeps you invested in the program, because it's something that works, and you just keep doing it. It becomes your life.
Right, which is the whole point of it being results-driven lifestyle. Okay, before you came in the program, how much did you weigh? What was the most you weighed? Two something, 230 something?
37.
237. Okay, so now you're in the program. Talk about the first few months into the program, if you remember what was going on, how were the changes, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
so as soon as I joined the program and actually started getting into it, I guess the biggest eye opener for me was the nutrition aspect, right? Was learning how to eat, and learning what to stay away from, and learning what foods I thought were great for me that are horrible for me.
Mm.
So when I learned all of that nutrition stuff, that was the big aha moment for me, because I believe that, simplifying your meals as they were, just eating whole foods, real food, not the processed stuff or any of the stuff that's advertised as low fat and this and that and all that garbage, right? That was the big one. So I started focusing a lot on the nutrition. I started the workouts were tough, right? Because I was carrying all this weight.
Right.
And it was hard to do them and do them well. And you feel a lot of pain and soreness because of it, right? But I just kept powering through it because I knew that I was feeling better week over week over week, right? And so the combination of doing and the style of the workouts, right? The way you get the rest days in between, that understanding that no, you don't have to work out 7 days a week, which was something that I thought the more you do, the more calories you burn, the more weight you lose, right? But it wasn't that way. Mm-hmm. So I had to teach myself that rest days mean rest days, right? So as I started to go through those first few months, that by that time I got to my first milestone, I dropped, I think it was close to 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It was an insane amount of weight loss.
Right.
Because it was coming down so fast. Right.
Yeah.
And then of course I know that once I got there, then there was this plateau. It was really slowing down the weight loss at that point.
Of course, yes.
Which I understood, and I think I brought that up in an Ask Funk, and you went into detail about that, which now helped me understand how that works. But that first 3 months, it was just a landslide of fat.
I know, totally. Well, your body's. I mean, if you just think about it, scientifically, or just like look at it from the outside, you've been feeding your body all this, these different types of foods, different types of diets, different types of workouts, and but when you first started, you were doing some workouts. Your body was kind of primed to. All it needed was the right thing. Yeah. Right. So once you introduce the right nutrition and the right workouts, then all of a sudden, all of that extra weight just literally, okay, we're good. Metabolism's kickstarting. Now we're really losing. But yes, you're going to hit a point. It's not sustainable, because if you think about it, if you lost weight that way, you would, for a year, you wouldn't be here anymore. Yeah. There'd be no Rob, because you'd be 1 pound. So your body can't do that. Your body's very smart. It's like, okay, we got to slow shit down here. Like, all right, we don't want to not be here. So yeah, that's why people call them plateaus, but sometimes we need to hit those slow spots, so that our body can start to really, figure itself out and start to optimize itself, right? Yeah. So let me ask you a question about your family at this point. Maybe after that first 20 pound or so loss, like what was your wife saying? You're still with your wife, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What was your wife saying? What were your kids saying at this point?
I mean,
or was there anything? But maybe there wasn't anything. I don't know.
They knew that I was dead set about my kids, not so much at first, but my wife knew that I was just like, I need to do something, right? And I guess as I started to make these changes and feeling better, looking better, clothes were starting to fit, I was having to go buy new clothes and things like that. They were like, I could tell that there was just this, they were proud, right? Like they knew that I was doing something that was for me, but like, they were happy for me, right? My kids, that's, they all I talked about was Funk Robert, and they would come down and watch the TV that I watch you on down in my basement. And they would open up the TV and they'd be like, how come every time I turn on the TV, Funk Robert is on? Right?
I have it right here. I have the text. You said something about your kids don't believe you're alive or whatever. And then I called you.
Yeah. That's right.
Screenshot.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. So no, they were and still are today. Like, the whole family. Like, I have so many people in the family that would be like, "How did you do this? What are you doing?" and stuff like that. So.
You know what? That reminds me. I remember during this transformation earlier, you were asking me about when you go to these your family. Wow. Okay, this is blowing me right now. Your family functions. You used to go to your family functions, and everyone would be like, "How come you're not taking a shot?" and all of these things. And
Yep.
you were like, and they were kind of like, not berating you, but like, "Come on, you got to do this," and that was concerning for you. That was, I remember you. What happened there? If you could just shine a little bit of a light, what was going on, and then now.
Because I was the guy that would go to the family functions and have your shots and drink your drinks and stuff like that. And, and I also keep in mind, I come from Italian background.
Right.
So
yes.
That, the whole manja thing, that's a big thing, right? And so it's hard to say, to your family when the desserts come out and when the 10 courses of food come out that you know what I mean? Like, so it became a bit of a challenge at first when going to these functions, because they want to serve you a plate of pasta, and then they want to serve you your main course, and then they want to serve you your dessert. And then after that, we're going to have 5 shots, and then we're going to have this, you know what I mean? So it was a struggle. So what was happening was, as I was, no to this, no to that, I was trying to make alpha meals within what was on the table.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Right. So it's like, okay, no, I'll have the chicken and I'll have the salad, right? And then some of the potatoes, but no thanks to the pasta, no thanks to the dessert. If you want a shot, no, I'm good, I'll have water. And that was hard, because they would kind of be like, "Oh, like, what's the matter with you?" You're like, and yeah, you feel like you're offending them, right? Mm-hmm. But listen, you pointed out, and it's true. You just have to keep saying no until they finally start to realize that that's just you.
Yes.
And now it's funny, because today, if I go to those same functions, they won't ask. Well, they might ask me if I want a beer, but they're expecting me to say no.
Right. They're just saying it because they just need to say, "Hey, do you want a beer?" Okay, I realize you're not, but I just want to.
Yeah, right. They might, like some of my brother-in-laws, whatever, right?
That's when you're flashing.
I'm just be like,
yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah.
But you know what? So, like, I mean, that was kind of like, I guess, a little bit difficult to get through, and it's more just because it's family. Because I could say no to friends all day long.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
But family makes it harder.
But it's amazing that now they're kind of they accept it. Like, this is like, "Oh, that's Rob," and they love you for it. And now some of them are even going, "Hey, man, what do you do? By the way, what are you doing?" Like, maybe take you aside and go, "Hey, what are you doing? What you doing?"
Oh, yeah. No, that's happened, right?
Oh,
actually, one of my family members, my sister-in-law, I think she said something like, she goes, "Oh yeah," she goes, "Yeah, you look really good." She goes, "So what is that? Like, you're just not eating carbs, right?" And I was like, "Actually, I'm eating a ton of carbs, believe it or not." She's like, "What? How do you eat carbs and lose weight?" And I'm like, "Well, talk to me when you're ready."
Exactly. Totally. Exactly. It's just too much, because then you're going to start talking, and then people just clue out. They're just like, "Oh, okay," right? You just start going, "Oh, well, I'm eating this and this," and then you just see them. There's like, whatever.
So, and here's something that I want to point out. This just happened last weekend. I was at a function. My nephew's 21st birthday. So we went out to a party, and one of the guys that I was sitting with, a family member, says to me, "Oh yeah, you look really good," and all this stuff. And I said, "Yeah, thanks." And he goes, I think he was like 52 years old. He said, "I'm at a point in my life right now where, I want to live my life, and he's like, I don't want to be restrictive and, hold back on stuff, because I want to enjoy my life. So if I want to drink, I drink. I want to smoke, I smoke. I want to eat, I eat." And I remember, and I'm listening to this guy, and I said, "Well, yeah, but don't you realize that the more you do that, the less you're going to live?"
Right.
Like, you're actually shortening your life. So here you are saying you want to live your life, but you're not actually going to live your life long if you keep doing that. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to play preacher.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, this guy's not where I am.
No.
Right. So
it's though, actually, those people, I'll tell you something about those, what I've learned a lot, because I have my mindset certification, and throughout my life, obviously doing this, I see this a lot. That is a defense mechanism. That is something someone says, when they see what you've done and they fucking want what you have. 100%. They want to live their life. And they want to have that healthy life, but they just want to seem like they're in charge, right? Like, I'm making the choice. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. If I want to smoke, I want to drink. If I want to go to the strip joint, if I want to do this, then I'm going to do it. There's stuff going on inside that they're trying to convince themselves that that's what they think living life is. They don't but that's because they just don't know the difference. Like, once you know that, oh shit, like, I'm living now, baby. Like, I'm like, I'm doing all this other stuff. This is life. Like, I can't even believe I was going down that road, because the next day I wake up, I'm like, that's not living life, right? The next day you wake up, you're hungover, you're coughing all the time. You're just like, that's not living. So, yeah, you're right. And at 52, that's very young. That is very young. 52 is very young. But again, everyone's at a different point in their lives. And, maybe just the more they see you and whatever, the more they kind of be like, you know what? Something's going to happen. They're going to hit a low. Something's going to happen. It's like, I can't do this shit anymore. Unfortunately, but you're going to be there for them to help them through. Okay. So yeah, Rob, from 237 to current. Okay. So, now you're going through the program, right? Going through up, what have you. And where are you at today? Like, what other things happened throughout this journey? What other things have happened in your life, or some things not just inside, but changes in your life, or anything that's happened in your life that can inspire some people while you've been on this journey?
I mean, the only thing that I can really say that I find has changed realistically because it's all been about personal change, right? It's all been about, but when you realize that you're healthier and you're happier, you have more energy, you just become a better person and a more pleasant person to be around, right? And I think that when you don't have confidence in yourself, then you carry that with you. This is a massive weight that you bring around you, right? And I think that it's something that now that I feel better, that I look better, that I have that confidence, I have more energy, I'm able to do more, right? I don't have those pains anymore that I used to have. Right. I wake up in the morning charged up, ready to go to do something. I'm, on the weekends, I'm outside doing stuff that, you're not feeling like you need to have a nap at 2 p.m. I'm more energetic at work, which means I'm more productive, right? So there's just a lot of personal stuff that's happened, but I think that as a result, that spills over into the rest of the people and things around you as well, right? So, I think the lowest I got while on the program was right before I went to Bahamas. I was 182 pounds.
That's insane. 237 to 182. I put you through a little test with the 7-day photo shoot.
Yep. And I gotta say that was part of it. And another eye-opening experience for me was, learning how to adapt to that, right? Yeah. And that was, I felt like a champion going through that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's difficult. Hard. It's very difficult. Yeah. I'm very proud of you that you went through that, because I wanted to put you through it, because I realized, you know what, maybe I'm just going to put Rob through it, even though it's not really like the best thing to do before you went away, but I still wanted you to go through it. Yeah. Just because I think you were ready, and it's another challenge, because that's a totally different challenge. Like, that's a whole different. What we're talking about is the 7-day photo shoot. Anyone can get it in the bonus section. It's kind of like what I usually do 7 days before I actually do a photo shoot or a video shoot or whatever it is that I really need to be like, super, super shredded. But it's not, and it's like, it's kind of like the same type of philosophy as what a bodybuilder would do and what a fighter would do. The fighter would do that. I would prepare a fighter for the first 5 days, and the last 2 days, it would just be water weight. That's totally different from kind of what we did. Like, they literally like just trying to dehydrate them so they make weight. And then a bodybuilder, they would do a little bit around the same that this program does. A couple little different things, but because they want to be literally like, not only shredded, but very dry. So when they step on stage, like there's zero fat and they're dry. So it's kind of like in between. And yeah, it's great that you went through that because you see it's not healthy. This is
No.
not a healthy thing, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's not healthy. But it's a challenge that when you go through it, you're like, fuck, I just went through that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, how did that,
Yeah,
right?
I did that for that reason, right? It was just this like, and that's like, that was like another, because I noticed that in the last 2 months, there was another body shift.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm still holding on to some belly
Yeah.
fat, that's an ongoing thing that I'm working with, but
Yes.
there was a shift. There was a shift. The body composition changed again.
Right.
And I noticed it.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the upper body, in the pec region, in the shoulders, thighs, and even the peekaboo abs, which I was like, okay, right? This wasn't there 3 months ago, right? So, you know, and then I go on Bahamas and I destroy it all.
Well, I know it happens. It happens. Hey man, it happens. You just now you got to go back through it, and that's fine. You understand how to get through that. So that's right. That's amazing. Yeah. So I'm glad you went through it. I think that's it's very it's one of those it's one of those things that it's like a David Goggins, well, not David Goggins, but it's like a David Goggins thing where it's kind of like it sucks, and you can't even like, okay, I'm gonna just do this. No, you have to do it to the T, and that's what makes it very difficult. You can't even kind of like, no, it's like it's all or nothing. There's no in between. Right?
The no salt.
Yeah, the no salt too. Yeah, the no salt. But you said you liked it though. The no salt afterwards.
What I found was, what I learned was that I couldn't believe that when I had done that first couple of days, it was like, oh my God. But then I was like, wait a minute. Okay, steak tastes horrible without salt, but chicken doesn't taste that bad.
Right.
So then I was kind of like, oh, hey, wait a minute, I could do this, right?
Yeah.
Would I do that? No, I wouldn't do that.
No, you wouldn't,
because we need sodium.
We need sodium, yeah.
But what I did say was, okay, now I'm not doing this, right? Now it's just maybe a little of that, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Just totally.
Right.
That's great, man. So okay, so work-wise, everything's the same pretty much. You're just your relationship with your wife, how's that changed? That changed at all? It's good, it's great. She loves you. She can't keep her hands off of you.
Man, it's when you feel confident and you're confident, then it just reaps the rewards, right?
Totally. And your kids, your girls are good. Your girls are good. They're one's university, they're both home now. And okay, so now what phase are you in now?
Okay, so now I'm in.
What are you doing?
What you would call phase 14, which is phase 2 of Alpha Plus.
Okay, phase 14. Yeah, I think, by the way, I'm going to keep it as like 14, 15, 16, 17 but you're an Alpha Plus. Okay, so that's great. And so for someone who's, listen, because this is going to be a podcast episode as well. For someone who's listening to that, first of all, for new guys coming in, what would you tell the new guys who are coming in or who purchased the 30-day challenge that may be listening to this, or guys who are part of the who downloaded the over 40 shred bodyweight, so they haven't really joined? But what would you say to someone who's new or someone who's brand new, phase 1, just starting? Like what would some words of wisdom be for those guys?
I got a couple. I think the first thing is basically to say this: forget about what you used to know and be willing to take on the knowledge that you're going to get here, because you have to go through the motions. So 1 month, 2 months, 3 months is not enough. You got to go through the motions and learn and know that your things will change. It will change in a positive way. Stay committed, but I have to say, commit. 100% commit. Don't, I'm going to do it and I'm not going to do it. Do it 100%. You put me onto this book.
Oh, beautiful book. Huh?
Right? And there's something in here that I highlighted because it was an eye-opener for me. And it says here, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Totally. And I can't begin to tell you how amazing that is, because it's true. If we continuously eat garbage, we will continuously get fat and be that way. If we continuously eat healthy and have a healthy lifestyle, we will be healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. That's amazing.
So in reality, the only advice that I can give any new brother that's coming into this, because all the information is here, the platform, all the knowledge, it's all here. You just have to commit. Come in every day, put the work in, and do not deviate from the process, because when you deviate from the process, you deviate from the results.
Amazing. I love it. I love it.
Mic
Wow.
drop.
Yeah, that drop on the mic. That was awesome. That was awesome. I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, what would you say to someone outside of them, someone who doesn't even know about this? So you just talked about guys who kind of know about this. I'm talking about someone who doesn't even know. I'm talking about Rob at 237. What would you say to Rob now that you know where you know right now? Rob at 237, someone who's constant pain in the knee, someone who's got that belly fat that they don't know, someone who just had a kid and the kid's now 4, 5, 6 months old. Because I do know that when you do have a child, your body does produce a little bit more estrogen to become more fatherly, more motherly, really. So the first 3 or 4 months, I think, yeah, that happens. You will become, a little bit, you're just focusing on the child's a new baby or your sleep habits, all that stuff. Totally get it. Of course, that's going to happen. But like after month number 6, okay, we gotta step out of that now and get back to our alpha. So guys who are in different stages of maybe in their 30s, early 40s, 50s, 60s, don't even know anything about this, but trying things. What would you say to them?
I mean, I would go to them and say, like, are you happy? Like, really ask the question, right? Like, how do you feel about your fitness? How do you feel about your life? Like, are you happy where you are? Because chances are, if they're overweight and living an unhealthy lifestyle, they're going to tell you that they're not.
Right.
Right. And that is when I would open the door and say, buddy, there's a better program out there. There's a better lifestyle out there that you're just waiting to live. All you got to do is come in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just health. I mean, it's just health.
It's just health. It's all it is, right? Like, I mean, if I was to tell myself a year and a half ago that this is where I'd be today, I probably would have flipped myself the bird.
I was about to ask you that same question. Do you ever think you'd be like right here? No way.
No way. Not in this short period of time. No way.
Right.
Right. And I don't even think that I would have thought it was even possible, being at the age that I'm at, that I would have had to say to myself, no, I missed that window.
Yeah.
Right. In reality, it's very possible. So it doesn't really matter how old you are. You just have to commit.
Yeah, totally. That's amazing. Yeah, that's and I think a lot of all these guys who are on this call probably all can say the same thing. Like not, it's just not even about the body. It could just be health wise. Like, there's a lot of guys who quickly became, got a great body or whatever, but it's more health, like, the testosterone levels. It could be like, I didn't think my testosterone levels would be this big. I didn't think I'd ever be off these, blood pressure pills, or, it's stuff like that too, as opposed to just the physical. But a lot of it's the physical, because you don't see that when you're in that mindset, in that space. You don't think about being able, like right now with my back, it's been 2.5 years. It's like, I got to a point about 6 months ago, I think it was, where I was just like, is this going to be how I'm going to live for the rest of my life? Like, am I going to be in pain like this for the rest of my life? Like, do I have to now just kind of like accept this? Like, those things start running through my head, through the head. Now I'm like, no, like, I mean, I can't wait. In fact, this morning I said to myself, man, I can't wait. As soon as his back is done, I'm coming out with insane workouts. I'm punishing everybody. I said that I'm going to be an absolute beast when all this is said and done. What I can do now compared to what I'm going to do. Anyways, I'm just, it's kind of like those still thoughts that go through your mind. Here's the last thing I want to leave you with. It's something that you said to me that I resonate with as well. And, it's kind of like you said, I can share this, I'm sure. You said, like, sometimes when you look in the mirror, you're like, I gotta, you're just always trying to like be better. Like, you're kind of like, no, I gotta get rid of this or this or this. You're kind of like, you feel like you're nitpicking. And then I said to you, that's not nitpicking. That's just you wanting to be better. Like, you know what I mean? Not settling, like just being like, all right, you know what? I'm here. Oh, no, I got this. Okay, let me see what I can do. It's like, it's the awareness that's what that is. We always have to have awareness, looking in the mirror. And some people think that that's, oh, you're just being, what's the word when you're not vain, but dysmorphia, body dysmorphia, something like body dysmorphia, whatever. That's the word they throw at you. They throw that's the word people throw at people when they see them. And yes, to them, you look amazing. Like I always say this to my wife. My wife says to me, you look incredible. Because I'll be in the mirror or whatever. I'm like, I gotta get this, or I'm looking, I gotta get a little bit more here. And my wife's like, yeah, you look amazing. It's like, yeah, honey, honestly, I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. But to me, it's I want to be better. So it's not like, I see myself as like, it's not like I see myself out of shape. I just want to be better. Like that's all it is. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with the body dysmorphia. Like I know what I got, but hey man, I just want this extra thing now. And so I'm going to do something to try to get that. Like, it's just always trying to like big. So when you were saying that and you were feeling like you were being a little bit nippy, you're not, man. You're not. You're just kind of like, but you do have to understand that you do look great. You do look amazing.
Yeah, no, I think that's, I
You
think
have
that,
to understand that.
yeah, I think you realize that, and then you just, because you get other people that are not seeing the little fine details that you're working on, right? And they're just seeing like what you used to look like and how you look today, and then they're like, hey, you look amazing,
Yeah.
right? But then you're like, yeah, but
but I don't say that to them. Yeah. I try not to say that to people. When people tell me that, I go, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I don't go, yeah, but I need to, because that can also be a negative thing to them. It's like, dude, man, come on, you look great. Like, because right, to my wife, it's different because that's our vows. Like we go back and forth. But to regular people out there, when they give me say, hey, you look great, I always say, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Yes, thank you. And that's where I leave it. I don't even go any more deeper. I work hard for this, or I don't even go there. It's just like, you know what? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, well, thank you. I thank you. And then if they ask stuff, you go in, but I never say to other people, only to like you may say it to Anthony, but I always say it to my wife. It's like, yeah, but I just need this.
Yeah.
Because that's your inner circle. Like that. So, man, I am really, really excited that that you're part of the oh geez, my computer's dying right on me. Okay, that you are going to be a captain. Thank you so much for this. This is amazing. Once you any last words? Did that the mic drop was the mic drop?
I think so, man.
Okay, yeah, no, I think this is great. So let's give a round of applause. I'm just going to mute everybody and just kind of like show some love. You can unmute yourself and give them some love. Thanks, man. It's great. It's great that you that you share that your story and it's good. I mean, it's great for us to share those stories for not only ourselves but for people around us, right? People who want to know what your journey was, right? What your struggles were. And now you're that's great, man. I really appreciate you being on here, and I'm sure the summer's here, so I'm sure we're going to see each other in July or August. We'll do something else down at the beach. I'll put it out there again. I know your brother and Ed would be there. Yeah. I know that for a fact.
100%.
Whether it's a little workout, whether it's a chill out, whatever it is, man, whatever it is, we'll do something for sure.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
I want to thank you very much. I also want to just, thank you for the spotlight and for, bringing this to me. But in return, I need to thank you as well, because obviously none of this was possible without you. So, I mean, you've changed so many people here, and you offer so much of yourself in order to make men like us, fitter and healthier men. So I got to thank you truly, man, for everything that you do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. I'll thank you very much. I do appreciate that 100%. Yes, I appreciate that. You guys do the work, but I do appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, man. That's awesome.